to week 10 of Security Architecture and Design. My name is Dr. Alan Dennis. I'm your instructor. Moving on to our agenda, we'll talk about the assignments and then we'll talk a little bit about the reading. First, the assignments. For week 10's discussion, you're asked to discuss the following. The protections from the security software must continue when the device is taken off of the network, such as when it is off grid or in airplane mode and similar. Still, much of the time, software writers can expect the device to be online and connected, not only to a local network, but to the World Wide Web as well. Web traffic, as we have seen, has its own particular set of challenges. What are the challenges for always connected but highly personalized devices? Respond to that prompt and also to three of your classmates, or two of your classmates. Three of your classmates, and make sure that you're doing so in a constructive and additive way. You should make sure that you're introducing material that is building on their conversation, not just responding in a brief way. The individual assignment for week 10 is as follows. One of the big challenges with cloud-based reputation checks is performance. Users do not typically want to wait a few seconds while the reputation of a potential URL is checked. Most of us have come to expect that websites are at the immediate tips of our fingers, and that access and loading of the content should take place rapidly and immediately. This presents a tricky security problem. Since the reputation service exists in the cloud, the challenges can be summed up as: how can a reputation be securely retrieved without slowing web access down as much as to create a poor user experience? You may also want to address other means of ensuring that the URL that you're going to is the URL you think you're going to, such as maybe through certificates, something to think about. Moving on to the research paper rubric. This is the rubric which will be used to grade your submissions. Ensure that you shoot for the right-hand column. That means that you want to make sure you're spending some time coming up with your thesis statement, because without a thesis statement and its associated subtopics, it's going to be challenging to do some of these items, such as supporting that, right? Because you have to support your thesis. That means you have to know what that thesis statement is. Also, your sequencing is challenging as well if we don't have those subtopics clearly identified so that we know that you're moving from one to the other. Also, without proper citations and so on, it would be challenging to do very well on this assignment. So start with your thesis statement and subtopics and move from there. Moving on to the reading. We'll be discussing this in a separate presentation, but you're to read Chapter 9, Endpoints and Anti-Malware, a deployment model lens, analysis, and more on deployment models, and then endpoint antivirus software security requirements. And with that, we reach the end of this discussion. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. As always, stay safe, and I will speak with you next week.